Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make an easy upside down cake, and this is what it looks like. On the bottom we have a soft and moist vanilla flavored butter cake, and then we're going to top that with a sweet and gooey filling of brown sugar, butter, dried coconut, and toasted pecans. So the first thing that you will need to do is to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 180 degrees Celsius. And then you will need an 8-inch, that's 20 centimeter round cake pan. This one has 2-inch sides, that's 5 centimeters. Now I'm just going to butter my pan. You could spray it with one of those nonstick sprays. So I just melted a little butter, and then I'm using a pastry brush. Let's do the bottom and sides. Okay. And then, like I said, we're using toasted pecans. So what you want to do is take 1 cup, which is 100 grams of pecans, put them on a baking sheet, and then just put them in your oven for about 8 minutes, just until they get lightly brown and you can start to smell them. And then take them out, which I've already done that ahead of time. So this is what they look like. And then you just want to coarsely chop them. So that's our pecans. And then we're not using any mixer today. Everything's going to be made by hand. So in a bowl, you will need, I'll start with 1/3 cup, 70 grams of light brown sugar. If you're using a measuring cup, as you know, I always say, weighing is better, but if you use a cup measurement, pack your brown sugar in because it's very soft. And then I'm going to add 4 tablespoons, which is 55 grams of melted butter. So melt your butter, you could do it in the microwave or on the stove, and then bring it down to room temperature. Just put that in there, mix it. And then we're going to add our pecans. Now, some people say they can't find pecans or they're really expensive, so you could use a great substitute would be walnuts, or you could use hazelnuts or even almonds, so don't feel you have to use pecans, although brown sugar and pecans gives you a wonderful caramel flavor, which I just left. A little more butter there. And then we're using dried coconut, 1/2 cup, 45 grams. Now, dried coconut, you can buy it pretty readily now, either sweetened or unsweetened. My preference here is to use the unsweetened because the cake and the topping's already sweet enough, so I don't need more, although you can use it. It's really good. And you could use either the shredded, or I'm using flaked today, whatever you have. And then just to bind everything, I'm just adding 2 tablespoons of, I'm using a light cream, or like a 1/2 and 1/2. You could just use milk, or you could use a heavy cream, really. Just want to bind it together. And we're just going to mix it all, and that's our topping. What I like about this is not only is it really like great tasting cake, it is so quick and easy to make. So, during the week, if you want a dessert, you don't have a lot of time, make this. Make sure that's all mixed together. Just dump it in your pan. That's where the upside down, because when we take it out of the pan, this will be on the top of the cake, not on the bottom. And then you can just use the back of the spoon or an offset spatula. I'm just going to spread this out evenly. And that's our topping. So I'm just going to clean up here, and we will be right back, and we will make our cake batter. So now for our cake batter. Again, I'm making it by hand. We're going to have 2 bowls, one for the dry ingredients and one for the wet, and then we just mix them together. So in a large bowl, I have 1 cup, 130 grams of all-purpose flour, plain flour, 1/3 cup, 65 grams of granulated white sugar, 1½ teaspoons, 6 grams of baking powder, and just 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I'm just gonna whisk that together. That's our dry. And this bowl is our wet ingredients. I have 1 large egg. Have your egg at room temperature, and a large egg out of the shell weighs about 50 grams. So I'm gonna whisk that. To that, I'm going to add 4 tablespoons, about 55 grams of melted butter. Again, have your melted butter at room temperature. Just put that right in there. Get all that butter. Don't want to waste that. And for flavoring, 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of pure vanilla extract. If you didn't want to use vanilla, you could use almond or some other flavor of extract. And then just 1/3 cup, 80 milliliters, 80 grams of, I'm just using milk. You could use whole milk or 2%, a little bit of a reduced fat. I wouldn't use like a skim milk. You need a little fat in your cake. Put that in there. And that's our wet. So now, just make a bit of a well in the center of your dry. Just pour that in, and we're going to mix the two together just until everything's mixed together and you don't have any lumps. You could just use your spatula. I'm going to use my whisk. Could you use a hand mixer? Yeah, but it's kind of nice to make things by hand. Okay. Now you must admit, that was an easy cake to make, and it tastes so good. No one will know that you were in and out of the kitchen in no time at all. And then we're just going to pour that right over top. This cake is good warm from the oven, room temperature, cold. I like it always. Okay. Back of a spoon again, or offset spatula, just even that out. Okay, so to bake this cake, everyone's oven is a little different. So I'm going to say between, say, 22 and 25 minutes. You know, it may take a little less, may take a little more. Sometimes if your oven's running a little hot, be done before that. But what you're looking for, it will rise, it will take on some color. If you press the center, kind of spring back, be firm, and the cake will start to shrink from the sides of the pan. That's another good indicator. And then, of course, take a wooden toothpick, insert it into the center, and it will come out clean. So I'm going to say 22 to 25 minutes. I do like to rotate my pan about halfway through baking so it's nice and even bake. Okay, so our cake is done. Put your pan on a wire rack. As you can see, it's risen, just starting to pull away from the sides of the pan, and a toothpick inserted in the center did come out clean. So now what we're going to do is just let this cool for 5 minutes, and then we're going to take it out of the pan. So it's been about 5 minutes, so we're going to take the cake out of the pan. I'm going to invert it onto this wire rack. I do like to, you can either butter your rack, or I'm just going to spray it with, wipe it with one of these non-stick sprays. And that way, as the cake cools, it won't stick to the rack. Okay, and then just take a knife, offset spatula, just run it around the inside just to make sure it's not sticking. And then let's put that on top of there. Put my mitts on because pan is still hot. Whoop. Okay, and let's lift your, there you go. If you, like sometimes I've had this where, I'm just gonna move this off here. I have a lot of stuff still. Don't worry about it, just as I'm going to, you don't wanna waste it, just scoop it up and put on the top of the cake. So there we have it. Doesn't that look beautiful? Tastes even better. So I'm just going to let this cool down just a little. You can serve it, like I said, warm, room temperature, cold. So let it cool down a bit, and then when we come back, we will try some. So now our upside down cake is cooled down, so I'm going to transfer it over to my serving platter. I'm just using a large spatula here. There we go. And let's cut a slice. Okay. Doesn't that look nice? Gotta get that topping. It's the best part. You know, it's really good. And it was so easy to make. No one will know that you were in and out of the kitchen in no time at all. You have the topping. Kind of has like a caramel flavor, and if you add with that, you know, the brown sugar, and then the toasted pecans, the dried coconut, it really has wonderful flavor. It's kind of gooey and crunchy. And then you have that really nice soft and moist vanilla flavored cake underneath. Really, the two together, it's not, I don't find it that sweet because I did cut back. I first tried it and I did cut back a little on the sugar. So I just think it's a really nice combination. Easy to make, so good. You must try it. And until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.